these tech defense contractor psychopaths have to say about AI being used in war? Let's give him a chance, and I'm just going to read it. I'm not going to do any bits where I change what he says, which sometimes I do. I'm not going to do any bits. I'm going to just read what Palmer Luckey has to say. Okay? That's all I'm going to do. Let's be fair. So here's what Palmer Luckey said. I like sucking cock, and I'm super gay, and I like bouncing on cock. Huh. Palmer Luckey criticized Anthropic for standing up to the Pentagon. So that's the context. Here's Palmer Luckey's reaction to that. Let's read. This gets to the core of the issue more than any debate about specific terms. Do you believe in democracy? Should our military be regulated by our elected leaders or corporate executives? Seemingly innocuous terms from the latter, like, quote, you cannot target innocent civilians, unquote, are actually moral minefields that lever differences of cultural tradition into massive control. Let's stop on that one. Now, I don't agree with that. I think the phrase, you cannot target innocent civilians, I don't think that's a moral minefield at all, Palmer Luckey. This is classic warmongering propaganda bullshit. If you tell, this is literally the same as when you say, Israel shouldn't kill kids. And they go, oh boy, here we go. It's not that simple. It's like when Miss Rachel goes, don't kill kids. And then people go to Miss Rachel to go, hey, Miss Rachel, stay out of politics. Palmer Luckey is saying when corporate executives tell the government and the military that you should not kill innocent civilians with our technology, he calls it a moral minefield. I love that even in his description of a phrase, he has to use weapons words. He calls it a minefield. A moral minefield. This guy's obsessed with war. This is from one of the preeminent AI defense contractors, okay? This is from his mouth. Who is a civilian and not? What makes them innocent or not? What does it mean for them to be a target versus collateral damage? Existing policy and law has very clear answers for these questions, but unelected corporations managing profits and PR will often have a very different answer. I mean, it's hilarious. It's just fucking hilarious that he, of all people, is using the, corporations just care about money argument as a CEO of a company. He's like, oh, well, these weapons contractors, all they care about is money, so they're going to pretend to be woke. No, they're not. A woke company wouldn't contract with the Department of War. He's basically calling these companies that are like Anthropic. He's basically saying that Anthropic, which I actually agree with for different reasons. He's saying that Anthropic is being disingenuous and saying that they're just trying to stand up to the Pentagon because they want to look good for the woke base, for their woke employees. And they just care about money. Why don't you take a look in the mirror, douchebag? How about you take a look in the mirror, Palmer Luckey? You're also the CEO of a company that just cares about money. So this argument holds no water. It holds no water. It does hold the blood of children. Let's listen to the arguments. Imagine if a missile company tried to enforce the above policy that their product, ding, 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 product. You know who else on the main episode today? Go watch the main episode if you haven't. The McDonald's CEO called his burger a product. And I'm just drawing connections. The CEO of a weapons company also calls his thing a product.
I have a revised number. That was one contract. They've received over $2 billion in defense contracts.
Crazy. I'm sure it's more, dude. It's all you need to do if you want a $2 billion defense contract from the Pentagon these days is just talk about how you can't believe that female swimmers have testicles. You want a $2 billion contract from the Pentagon? All you have to talk about is how you're tired of the woke liberal media poisoning the minds of the youth. And you'll get a $2 billion contract from the government. So he goes, imagine if a missile company tried to enforce the above policy that their products cannot be used to target innocent civilians, that they can shut off access if elected leaders decide to break those terms. Sounds good, right? Not really. In addition to the value judgment problems I listed above, you also have to account for questions like, what level of information, classified and otherwise, does the corporation receive that would allow them to make these determinations? How much leverage will they have to demand more? What if an elected president merely threatens a dictator with using our weapons in a certain way, a la Madman Theory Mad, mutually assured destruction? Is the threat seen as empty because the dictator knows the corporate executives will cut off the military? Is the threat enough to trigger the cutoff? How might either of those determinations vary if the current corporations? How might either of those determinations vary if the current corporate executives happens to like the dictator and dislike the president? This is the longest thing I've ever read in my life. At what level of confidence does the cutoff trigger, both in writing and in reality? Now, all those questions are valid. And it almost makes me think that maybe we should reduce, maybe defense contractors shouldn't be that powerful and maybe shouldn't exist at all. Maybe the military should just be run by the government. Is that crazy to think about? Maybe corporate executives making money off war is unethical. He can't see that that's like the obvious alternative to this. He's basically saying, well, there's moral quandaries when the government contracts with corporations to make weapons. Yeah, there are. And maybe one way to solve that is to not make these fucking people billionaires so that they write shit like this on Twitter and spout their fucking bullshit opinions about the West. Let's keep going down. This is the longest post ever. How is this guy a billionaire? All he does is write shit on Twitter. The fact that this is a debate over AI does not change the underlying calculus. Okay, so this is the part where he actually talks about AI being used in war. The fact that this is a debate over AI does not change the underlying calculus. The same problems apply to definitions and use of ethically fraught but important capabilities like surveillance systems or autonomous weapons. It's easy to say, but they will have cutouts to operate with autonomous systems for defensive use. But you immediately get into the same issues and more. What is autonomous? What is defensive? He's using the Marco Rubio lines. What is autonomous? What is defensive? I'll tell you what, bombing a school in Iran is not defensive or autonomous. It might have been autonomous. It was not defensive. What is defensive? What about defending an asset during an offensive action? That's offensive. Or parking a carrier group off the coast of a nation that considers us to be offensive. At the end of the day, you have to believe that the American experiment is still ongoing. What the fuck are you talking about? Are you talking about AI being used in war? Or are you talking about the founding fathers? Just pick a topic. And that's really what it is. I think I finally landed on it. 130 episodes later, Connor, I think I finally landed, and I finally am able to distill why I have such a problem with these people. Billionaire tech executives, they're doing Trump. That's all they're doing. They're doing Trump. That's how these guys trick you. These tech CEOs, they trick the public because they talk about the American experiment and the West. And then they talk about AI being used in autonomous weapon systems to bomb Iran. And then they talk about Lord of the Rings. And they're all over the place. And the reason they want to be all over the place is because there's no depth to anything that they're saying. You understand? There's no depth. They don't actually know what they're saying. Palmer Luckey says this. He goes, at the end of the day, you have to believe that the American experiment is still ongoing. That people have the right to elect and unelect the authorities making these decisions, that our imperfect constitutional republic. I mean, I can feel his erection as he writes this. I can feel his boner getting harder as he writes this paragraph. Ugh. That people have the right to elect and unelect the authorities making these decisions, that our imperfect constitutional republic is still good enough to run a country without outsourcing the real levers of power to billionaires and corpos. Shut the fuck up. It's a corporate. It's corpos is not going to catch on. Stop. Our constitutional republic is still good enough to run a country without outsourcing the real levers of power to billionaires and corporations and their shadow advisors. I still believe. Wait a minute. You're a billionaire that owns a defense contractor that we outsource the levers of power to. Are you not describing yourself, you stupid fuck? He's going, like, I love it when people they make all the arguments that their critics make, and they think that, like, that's the way to win. Isn't that crazy? That paragraph makes him sound like a woke Zohran Mamdani stan. Doesn't that make him sound like a fucking pussy? That sounds like some woke shit to me. Wait a minute. You don't want to outsource the levers of power to billionaires and corporations and their shadow advisors? I thought that sounds like you're a fucking woke pussy. It sounds like you don't believe. That sounds communist. The way he's framing it right now, it sounds like he's a communist. But wait, I thought your whole thing is Anduril, flame of the West. The only flame in the West is Peter Thiel. This is Palmer Luckey speaking. He goes, and that is why, quote, bro, just agree that the AI won't be involved in autonomous weapons or mass surveillance. Why can't you agree? It is so simple. Please, bro, unquote, is an untenable position that the U.S. cannot possibly accept. So basically, all of that bullshit was to say that he believes that AI should be used for mass surveillance and it should be involved in the autonomous killing of civilians. And that is not, and that, all of that, he goes, all of that stuff. He goes, oh, well, billionaires shouldn't decide whether or not we bomb civilians. Newsflash. Either way, Trump's a billionaire and you're a billionaire. So either way, it's a billionaire deciding whether civilians get bombed. It's just whether they work in the government or in the real government, which is the contractors. You understand? Are you guys, is this resonating?
He went from it's a moral gray area to untenable position.
Right. It's right. It's saying it's all of this fake nuance. Whenever someone starts talking about whenever someone starts talking about our imperfect republic, I'm going to put a bullet in your head. Like our republic is imperfect and we just need to keep going. It's like, we're the evil empire. We are the evil empire. We need to start naming and shaming defense contractor AI CEOs. This guy jacks off to Iron Man every night. Palmer Luckey's facial hair makes me want to join Al-Qaeda. I am now against the West. He's leaning on his baby killing machine. Oh, great, dude. So sick, bro. Oh my God, he's in flip-flops. Imagine watching your child get murdered by a weapon that was made by a guy that works in flip-flops. Hey man, that's disgusting. The Silicon Valley STEM nerd to war criminal pipeline is 100% real, and that's what that guy is. STEM is a CIA psyop. STEM as a concept is a psyop perpetrated by the Department of War to get nerds to commit atrocities. That's what it is. And you know I'm right. And you know I'm fucking right.